I'm Marita. With my colleague Dagmar, we were ZDF representatives and responsible for the MQ plus ZDF project. Last year we retired. It was a great pity that we couldn't come together last year to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this great program. The nice idea is to have you all in Mainz this year to the very beginning and the history of MQ plus ZDF program. At the end of the 90s of last century, I was in charge with education and training. English is the language of television people. So the aim was to support our ZDF colleagues in improving their English language skills. But the question was how to put this into practice. By chance, Fritz Hattich and Jim Willis met on the occasion of Jim's lecture tour in Germany.
German television, ZDF, over in Mainz. That turned out to be a really key presentation because there were a lot of staff members there, and one in particular who was vice president for documentaries, Dr. Fritz Hattich. Fritz was a longtime journalist, so he said, would it be possible for us to organize a program where I could bring on an annual basis a group of ZDF staffers over to Memphis. We could have seminars with them on American media, American journalism. And in the process, it would all be in English, and so conversational English. So we give them a week, 10 days to just immerse themselves in the English language. And so we began working on that, and that was in '96.
As they ran one or two, Jim began to think about how we can institutionalize something. And so he invited me to, so I met them each time they're here, and we went back and began to talk about institutionalizing something. I was at that time assistant vice provost for undergraduate programs. One of the things that they thought would make it sustainable was if we had some sort of tangible benefit for the University of Memphis, institutionalize a relationship between ZDF, the University of Mainz, and Memphis. And Blaine, who had been director of international programs here, had in the meantime become president at Ball State. That's the Indiana connection. And he said, oh, he'd love to be part of that. Could we do something? So suddenly with the Ball State part, I thought we've got a critical mass. And so with the support of the consulate, I came back and actually drew up the contracts with the help of Rebecca Laumann that we used as the template for almost all of our international agreements after that.
Tom Neenan got into it. State Department, USIS, had a very strong interest in it. University of Mainz, Ball State University, Muncie, Indiana, and they saw it as a great German-American cooperative program. I met Carl Renner along the way, and he is the head of the journalism program at the University of Mainz. We were invited over in the summer of 2001 as well to go over and to make this official. Dan Coates, who was former U.S. Senator, now he was ambassador to Germany. He came and we met at the ZDF and had a big ceremony, and he blessed the whole thing, and it got going, and it was called M3 plus ZDF to connote University of Memphis, University of Mainz. The third M was Muncie for Ball State University. Initially a student exchange program, then it grew into a faculty exchange program.
It's about that time that Jim Willis has also now moved on. And so I went to Jim Redmond, and one of the things that I'd known from watching international programs my entire career, that every program that is successful has faculty members on both sides. So I went to Jim and I said, hey Jim, who have you got? He said, I got this young guy. He actually speaks some languages and he'd be interested, but he just got here. He doesn't have tenure. I said, I won't work him too hard. That's when Joe Hayden and I went and arrived. And there's another funny story. We arrive, our room isn't ready. We walk down to the cathedral and we're standing there, and I look at the guy next to me, and it's somebody I knew from Kant studies. I go, Bernd? He goes, Thomas. And Joe's good, like, do you know everybody? And I ran into somebody else a few minutes later. So Joe's convinced I know everybody in Germany. And basically at that point I could hand it off. And ever since, and then with David Arendt coming in and others, really the journalism department has taken ownership. And that's been the key to the success over the years.
In 2008, and that's when I became directly involved with the program. Going in April 2008 to Mainz to teach this 3-week block seminar, they called it. I had just all Mainz students. They were Gutenberg journalism master students. Mainz is kind of magical. I got there, and here I am teaching in this journalism building that was built on the footprint of what was a monastery, and there was a graveyard there. And many think, Mainzers think, that Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press, was buried in that graveyard. So here I am teaching in a 500-year-old journalism building on the footprint of Gutenberg's grave, teaching journalism. Now, is that cool or what? But my first visit to Mainz, I also got to visit this ZDF television network. And I was kind of expecting, just like public television in the United States was kind of poorly funded, I was kind of expecting a modest studio and office building maybe. But I get out to the headquarters of ZDF television network, and here is a sprawling group of buildings and studios that are so fancy and well furnished. The power of mandated funding for public television and radio.
I think my favorite memory was when Dr. Aran decided, okay, we've got to make this work. And he was going to go teach in Mainz and take these students with him. It was exciting because we finally now had a path to exchanging students. And that first year that we took students to Mainz, I remember that he had a very diverse group of students that he went with. Students who had never been outside of Memphis. So it's just exciting preparing these students, helping them get passports, telling them what to expect, and then sending them over. They came back with great stories. You help them go, when they come back and they are totally different. The experiences is life-changing for them, and it means a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of a special relationship, sort of like a merging of two families, kind of like a marriage. But they do seem like extended family. Carl, Marita, Dagmar, Petra, Roland, Bettina, Marlies, Tanya, they seem like our cousins, and so I feel close to them, even though we don't get to see them necessarily every year. I feel like they're extended families, and I know for the students, it's been special for them as well, because they've made lifelong friends, unforgettable experiences, and things that they'll always treasure. That's part of the magic of studying overseas, is that it changes your world because it changes you. And that's kind of a great experience. If this were my university, I would make every student study abroad, just because it's such a valuable part of an education.
With our exchange with the Mainz Gutenberg journalism program, and each year of the past 20 years, the University of Memphis has hosted 6 or 7, or sometimes even more, journalism and communications undergraduate and graduate students in Memphis, and they come and spend a semester. And so altogether, I guess we've hosted at least 125 Mainz students. Every semester, I try to take these students to the Stax Museum of American Soul, and most semesters take them to the National Civil Rights Museum. Located at Lorraine Motel was where Martin Luther King was staying, where he was assassinated. I remember one spring semester, there were 2 students who hadn't gone to the Civil Rights Museum, so I said, okay, I'll take you. And so we went one afternoon, just the 3 of us, to the Civil Rights Museum. As we got there, the attendant said, oh, there's a section of the museum that's closed. The witness is lying in state. And I said, what do you mean the witness? She said, well, it's the witness, Reverend Billy Kyles. Reverend Kyles was the civil rights leader locally in Memphis, who was on the stairs of the Lorraine Motel waiting for Dr. King when the shots rang out. And so he's the witness. So I told the students, wait a minute, I know that Mr. Reverend Kyles, he's given a lecture for us. Let me go and speak to the family. And I said, you wait here. And went and talked to the family, and then went to the casket and meditated a minute. And then as I walked out, I looked back, these students had followed me through. And it was an open casket, and they kind of looked pale. And when we came out, she said, I've never seen a dead body before. And we don't have open caskets in Germany. So our German students really get to experience American culture in a major way, and they really do try to embrace, I think, the community of Memphis. They have a marvelous time. Since 2008, I've spent many Mays in Mainz, and I always find something new and meet new friends. Our faculty and colleagues in Mainz have become such good, dear friends. I think that my participation in this exchange program is one of the highlights of my academic career. I appreciate the opportunity they've given to my faculty and my students to go and many of them travel outside the United States for the first time. When I teach them how to ride the buses, to ride the trains, and perhaps, or get on planes for the first time, some of them. So it's been such a marvelous experience.
I participated in the exchange program in 2012, and what I like to remember the most about it were the incredible professors I had in Memphis who were so passionate and dedicated and enthusiastic about their field. I found that really inspiring. In fact, it was so inspiring that I decided to return to Memphis and get my master's degree, which as a result led to me staying in America for 7 years. And so I can say, truthfully, if it hadn't been for this program, my last 10 years would have probably been completely different, and I'd probably be doing a different job than I am right now.
8 years ago, I've been in Memphis, and I'm still in touch with some of the people I've met there. That's what I'm most grateful for. Getting to know people with very different views on life and nevertheless becoming friends. Living in a city in the US that I would have probably not visited if I was just going there on a holiday, and also traveling around the country helped me get more insight into the complexity of the US society. Also, I've gained a broader perspective on journalism. For example, in my class about entrepreneurial journalism. I think I'm still profiting from that mindset as a freelance journalist today. Memphis is still a place in the world that I feel very connected to, and I'm grateful for that.
Hello, my name is Dagmar. Marita and I have been the ZDF part of the exchange project for the last 20 years. This is a special day for a special project. What started with a lecture of Professor Jim Willis at ZDF and with a visit of ZDF journalists under the guidance of Dr. Fitzhattig led to the idea to this unique exchange project between the University of Memphis, the University of Mainz and ZDF. And I'm happy and proud to be part of the story since the beginning. It is thanks to institutions that projects like ours can continue. But it is the people who fill it with life and make it happen. And believe me, it's been many of them in the course of the last 20 years. In this time, we have not only become partners, we have become friends. And so numerous students of both universities. I cannot think of any better insurance for our project to flourish also in the future. 3 cheers to all of you and 3 cheers to the next 20 years.
We are firmly convinced this program gave the good opportunity to students and faculty members to get to know another culture, contribute to mutual understanding of the peoples. A big thank you to all who made this program work. We wish the program further success and good luck to all those who go for it for minimum another 20 years.
I think the most enjoyable part for me is I meet the students. And each time you say, that's where I did something. Where for me, going to Germany by accident at the age of 20 completely changed my life, and I think mostly in very positive ways. It certainly made my life much richer. And so each time when I see the students, and especially our students who are not usually world traveled, in the end what you recognize is long-term partnerships are about people that learn to trust and respect each other. And the fact that over the years the journalism departments in Mainz and in Memphis have done that. It really has been the people and the continuing commitment of the people at ZDF, at the University of Mainz, in our journalism department, our international programs, that have made this an exception and have this be something that's been so active for so many years.
When I look back, it's the German experience that I will remember the most, and the people. And it's wonderful to know that it's still going on. I am all for international programs, and because of the love I have for Germany, just seeing this kind of German-American collaboration is it's very satisfying, very gratifying. Sure is.
here. We are Hannah, Greta,
and Daniel.
Greetings from the University of Memphis campus.
Although we're super sad we're missing the reunion back in Mainz, we're also very, very happy to spend a few last days here in Memphis.
We hope you're having such a great time in Mainz and just celebrate this beautiful partnership that we're so happy to be a part of.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers!